announce myself. My name is Ivanna Shubina, and currently I'm working in Kuwait in American University in the Middle East. My research, just one second. I'll open the presentation. My research was related to the exploring of ChatGPT impact or importance in psychology, analyzing both the positive sides and negatives, so kind of opportunities, benefits, and challenges and concerns on the other side. I'll skip the outline because it's usually a traditional one. Here, just some explanation of why I got this idea. Recently observed how many students use ChatGPT for different options, mainly, of course, for the educational reasons. But to make my study a bit more complex, I focused also on the research field and the psychological practice field too. Some of the questions which triggered my research interest were related to what you can see here. So first of all, can ChatGPT really be helpful in unlocking different benefits, opportunities in making psychological research, making more accessible help, and a bit easier, let's say, educational field too. Can we rely on AI and ChatGPT in terms of becoming the professor, the researcher, the therapist in general, and the field of psychology especially? The background of the study was related to the very noticeable and rapid integration of ChatGPT into different fields, and one of them, of course, is psychology. The capabilities which are offered by ChatGPT usually are promising. It brings some opportunities and it enhances some skills and some ideas. But also, we should be aware on the other side of some concerns or risks as well. ChatGPT usually help us, of course, to personalize learning or to personalize help, right? It helps to gather, analyze data at some point. It helps to develop some methods in psychological therapy. So in this review, I've used the PRISMA guidelines and Lens software to analyze the existing publications related to ChatGPT in psychology, grouping it or categorizing it by the three domains, which are education, research, and practice. So actually the main question was, what are the opportunities, concerns, benefits, and limitations of integrating ChatGPT as a tool for personalized learning, psychological interventions, and efficient research in psychology? To, to be able to answer the question, I conducted the bibliometric study with the help of Lens software. The main databases I used were Web of Science and Scopus. The search strategy you can see here, so the basic keywords, including ChatGPT, psychology, education, research, and practice, as well as a field of psychology was precisely indicated, and year of publishing were limited to 2004, 2024. So as a result, the 116 records were found, but after the rigorous screening, based on the predefined criteria, the 31 papers or studies were included into analysis. Here you can see how the process of exclusion and inclusion look like. So actually, duplicates or not related papers or papers which are not responding to the criteria, or papers which mentioned treatment but not psychological were excluded from the analysis. Moving to the research outcomes. So mainly, of course, I focused with the benefits and risks related to using of mainly ChatGPT. Of course, some of papers mention AI in general and ChatGPT as one of the tools across the education practice and the research. Here, just a brief analysis of the papers. So mainly the preprints were included into study, but also research articles. Some of them were case studies, reports, all perspectives. In general, if I looked at the all available studies, so the most important benefits were academic writing and educational benefit, followed by psychological practice and scientific research. In more detailed, we can see that data analysis and research assistance, mental health support, personalized learning, and support were considered as a most those which benefit the benefits which we can use in psychology. Here you can see the mentions of various benefits, opportunities to apply ChatGPT in education, practice, and research separately, and you have also total mentions column as well. So we can see that actually in educational field, the personalized learning and support, content and material generation and improved communication were considered as a most important benefit. In practice, the enhanced clinical practice, streamlined workflow efficiency, and mental health support were prominent. In the research, data analysis and research assistance, improved communication, accelerated literature review were most often mentioned. Among risks, in educational field, actually in all fields, the ethical issues, were mentioned as the most important concerns in all domains. So 15 in education, 7 in practice, and 12 in research, with a total of 31. The inaccurate and unreliable information was also a very important concern, with total mention of 30, 11 in education, 9 in practice, and 10 in research. And the other important concern, one of the most important, is over-reliance on the technology and reduced critical thinking as a result of it. So here we got 22 mentions in total, with a significant
Excuse
emphasis
me, sorry. Can you maybe swap the screens because the first slide is fixed? It's freezed on the first slide.
it doesn't go? Doesn't move?
Yeah. Do you use two screens or for presentation?
No.
Okay. Because we only no, it's okay. No, it's
Now it's
moving.
okay?
For me, I don't know what the others see.
But now it's still not good, or?
Yes,
Yeah, it finally moved. It's good now.
Okay, if I do like that and again try to move in just a second. I don't know why. Is it moving now? Or still no? Probably no. Okay, fine. So I was here with the risks and concerns in these different fields, right? So to sum up, we can see that the risks are very similar for all three domains, just with the difference in psychological practice, which is kind of logical when data privacy and security risks are important. But if you talk about benefit, they're quite different for each domain, which also probably makes sense in the way how it's functioning. Right, so in psychological education, we talk more about personalized learning and support, content material generation, while in research, we're talking more about working with the data and communicating the results. In psychological practice, mainly we talk about, of course, enhancing the helping people, mental health support as the most significant benefits. I hope it's moving now. So to sum up, the mentioning what exactly was discussed in these 31 papers included into a bibliometric study, among the benefits in education, I found out the list of which you can see now in the screen. So mainly ChatGPT helps us to facilitate learning, to provide access to information. It supports educators from different perspectives. It helps to make the learning more personal. It improves critical thinking at some point and communication. But of course, there are some risks. For example, we cannot trust the information, we cannot rely on the information we received. Of course, ethical issues and misuse of data. Over-reliance on the technology and creativity, critical thinking might be reduced. Not understanding the context and sometimes not being sensitive emotionally to the information we receive. Transparency, legal issues, and some potential biases, of course. In the research, among the benefits, it was mentioned that ChatGPT help us to enhance the efficiency, support our study in different stages. It helps to write the literature review, to provide the data analysis. It helps to write a paper or report properly. Saves time, of course, for us. But on the other hand, we have to be aware of some potential risks, like, again, accuracy and reliability of the information, ethical issues and academic integrity, potential for some weak content or lack of expertise in the information which ChatGPT produces. Issues with references might also be noticeable. Some limitations in knowledge, some information can be too old. And again, biases might occur as well. In the psychological practice field, the majority of benefits were related to enhancing efficiency and productivity, in providing support adjusted to the needs and preferences of the client, improved access to information, support for mental well-being, but also we should be aware of potential risk, let's say, again, over-reliance of the ChatGPT, limited or outdated information, misinterpretation, or some lack of understanding the emotional content and support from that part as well. Unclear responsibility is one of the important concerns too. So this study, as each of studies might have the strengths, sides, and some limitations. So among the strengths, I would mention the idea of providing the overview of benefits and risks across all these three domains in psychology, like practice, education, and research. Following the PRISMA guidelines allowed to prepare the more comprehensive and structured review of the sources from two well-known databases. The study very clearly provides categories related to the benefits and risks. I couldn't present it here since the tables are huge and long, but hopefully they will be published. Also, one of the strengths probably will be the different types of publications which might provide more wide viewpoints or perspectives from different researchers. And also directions for the future studies and gaps in existing ones were provided. Of course, there are some limitations in the study. First of all, language limitations. So I focus only on the English language records from only two databases. The significant number of preprints might also influence on some conclusions. And since it's reviewing a paper, it might have some generalization issues. Among the most significant gaps, I would mention few. So one of them, there's not too many research conducted on the long-term impact of using AI or ChatGPT in various fields and in psychology too. There is not that much information in the research related to the efficacy of the personalized learning which we provide with the support of AI and ChatGPT. And also there is no information of which ways will be the most efficient in this topic. Also, more studies would be needed in relation to critical thinking or about the critical thinking and different other competences which are important for successful function in the psychological field. And of course, everyone alarming recently the need for ethical guidelines and policies for researchers, for students, for educators. So consequently, the future study could focus on the gaps which were just mentioned. So we can talk about more long-term longitudinal studies. We can talk about studies on personalized learning and the ways of implementing. We can more focus with the different skills, abilities, like critical thinking, creativity, and so on, and how they might be influenced by using AI in education and in research and practice. What else? And yeah, we can focus in the research on some specific issues like writing papers or supporting data analysis, or just all together as a block or complex study related to the research field. And of course, probably more study would be useful, beneficial for psychological help, therapy, counseling, coaching, in terms of understanding how this AI and ChatGPT can help people in diagnosing themselves, in knowing their strengths and skills, potential in managing various problems, and supporting their well-being. So, oh, I'm talking too long. I'm sorry. So in conclusion, right, this is the last word. As we know, right, so on the one hand, technology and AI and ChatGPT, especially in my research, it has plenty of promising opportunities and probably positive sides and benefits, but of course we need to be careful and cautious in the way we implement it. Probably different things should be developed. We should prepare our students and educators for more responsible use of AI in their studies and research. And later on, we can talk about practitioners as well. Thank you so much for listening.